Maria's hands were trembling as she counted the last few bills in her worn leather wallet. Rent was due in 3 days, and she wasn't sure if she could make it this month. Her job as a caregiver barely paid enough to cover the basics, but she had taken it because it was steady work and, more importantly, because caring for people gave her a sense of purpose. Even on the hardest days, when exhaustion clawed at her bones, she believed kindness was never wasted. That morning, she walked through the squeaky door of a small, sunlit apartment to care for Mrs. Evelyn Harper, an elderly woman with fragile health and a sharp tongue. Evelyn had lived alone for years, her family far away, her neighbors distant. Most caregivers before Maria had lasted only weeks, unable to handle her moods. But Maria stayed. She listened when Evelyn lashed out, she smiled when Evelyn complained, and she sat with her during the long, quiet afternoons when loneliness filled the room like a heavy fog. One day, while Maria was gently brushing Evelyn's hair, the older woman muttered, "Why do you even bother being so kind? You're young. You should be out living your life, not wasting it on an old, bitter woman." Maria paused, her heart heavy but steady. "Because everyone deserves care, Evelyn," she whispered. "When my mother was sick, I couldn't save her. But I promised myself I'd treat others the way I wished she had been treated. That's why I'm here." For a long time, Evelyn didn't reply. But Maria noticed a soft shimmer in her eyes that day, something she hadn't seen before, gratitude hidden beneath the layers of pride. As weeks passed, the bond between them grew. Maria would bring homemade soup, even if it meant skipping her own meals. She would hum little tunes to make Evelyn laugh, and she learned the stories of Evelyn's youth, how she once danced in ballrooms, how she loved painting sunsets. Slowly, the walls around Evelyn's heart began to crack, and Maria's warmth slipped through. Still, Maria's own life was crumbling. Her landlord threatened eviction. Her car broke down, forcing her to walk long miles to work. Some nights she cried silently, wondering how much longer she could keep going. But each morning, she put on her best smile before stepping into Evelyn's home. Then came the turning point. One rainy evening, Evelyn fell terribly ill. Maria stayed all night by her side, wiping her forehead, holding her hand, and whispering reassurances until the ambulance arrived. At the hospital, the doctor told Maria that Evelyn had been stabilized. Exhausted, Maria slumped into a chair in the waiting room, her eyes red from worry. She didn't know Evelyn had woken up hours later and overheard her conversation with a nurse. The nurse had asked Maria why she looked so tired. And Maria, thinking no one could hear, admitted softly, "I don't know if I can afford rent this month. But I couldn't leave her alone tonight. I had to stay. She needs someone." Those words pierced Evelyn's heart more deeply than any medicine could. For the first time in years, Evelyn realized that someone truly cared for her, not for money, not out of obligation, but out of love and humanity. Weeks later, when Evelyn returned home, she seemed different. Kinder. Gentler. She often looked at Maria as if she wanted to say something but held back. Then one afternoon, she handed Maria an envelope. "Take this," she said firmly. Maria shook her head. "No, Evelyn. You've already given me more than enough. I don't want your money." "It's not charity," Evelyn said, her voice trembling. "It's gratitude." Inside the envelope was a letter and a set of legal documents. Evelyn had quietly changed her will, leaving Maria not just a generous sum of money but also her small house. Maria gasped, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I don't deserve this," she cried. "Oh, but you do," Evelyn replied. "You gave me something I thought I'd lost forever, dignity, warmth, and companionship. You saved me, Maria. Now let me help you live the life you deserve." In that moment, both women wept together, one releasing years of loneliness, the other releasing years of struggle. The money and the house changed everything for Maria. She no longer feared eviction or hunger. She enrolled in nursing school, fulfilling her dream of helping even more people. But more than the material blessing, it was the lesson that stayed with her, that kindness, even when unnoticed, has the power to circle back in the most unexpected and life-changing ways. And Evelyn, once bitter and alone, spent her final years not in isolation, but in peace, surrounded by love, laughter, and the company of the one person who never gave up on her. This story reminds us all that kindness is never wasted. Even the smallest act of compassion can ripple outward, changing lives in ways we cannot imagine. And sometimes, when we give without expecting, the universe returns it to us 1,000-fold.